Public Service Commission has full-time commissioners and a full-time staff, and they specialize in the fine details of your finances and the technical challenges in providing power. And we don't have that expertise. And as I delve into just this topic just right here, you know, it's clear to me that Pepco is able to kind of avoid really answering questions because none of us have Mr. Berliner's unusual in his ability to follow up. So that when I asked you, was I paying for the power that I didn't get, and you said no, and of course I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about all of the hundreds of thousands of people without power, you avoided discussing this base rate adjustment,
Sir,
bill stabilization adjustment rider, which was intended to kind of smooth out, as I understand it, the ups and downs that might occur because you bill different amounts in different months. So the bill stabilization adjustment was intended to help consumers by allowing them to plan how much they would pay for power, but it didn't account for the fact that the power might go out. Am I now describing that correctly?
Sir, first of all, there was no intent to gloss over the facts in response to your answer. I was trying to answer your question because it is a somewhat technical issue and as plain English as I could, and I apologize if the answer seemed to be unresponsive. And I'm glad Mr. Berliner followed up because you know, I want to be very crystal clear about it. When your power, and let me try, and if it doesn't work, I'll be glad to try again. When you have an outage and your power goes out, your meter stops spinning, and you're not charged for the period of time when your meter is not spinning. There is an adjustment that's made in future months based on the amount of usage by all customers that's then adjusted to compensate for revenue, whether it's for conservation, cooler or warmer weather, depending on the season, for any number of factors, including in Maryland, around outages that customers experience.
To compensate who, Mr. Velasquez? The adjustment is made to compensate for these irregularities having to do with weather. To compensate who?
To compensate the utility. And the reason that was done is as we drive forward with our customers around the smart grid, we're trying to encourage our customers to use less of the product, to use it more wisely, to conserve energy. And we want to make sure that our interests are completely aligned with those of our customers.
In other words, even if I can forget outages, even if I conserve energy, Pepco still makes the same amount of money. So you want me to use less power as long as you still make the same amount of money. Is that correct?
Well, that's
Is there anything I've said that's wrong?
Well, I wouldn't characterize it as wrong. When Mr. Velasquez said it's designed to compensate the utility, the customers also compensated because the reality of it is, for instance, last summer when it's extremely hot, if customers use more than our forecasted sales, we will adjust the rates downward in forward months so that they will have to pay less money because they use more than they did. So it works in both directions.
Well, it's difficult to get it's difficult to have confidence when you're asked a direct question and you give less than forthcoming answer. Then it's difficult to have confidence, really, that even this proceeding that there's much of a purpose. I mean, we don't have regulatory authority over you. We can ask you questions to better understand the situation because we get questions from our constituents. If in response to a direct question you give an answer that's evasive, it kind of, you know, what's the point? I mean, I guess which leads to Mr. Elrich's observation, and we'll ask the Public Power Association about this. All of these assets that you own, the whole system, the wires, the poles, everything that you own, everybody wants to know. I mean, you understand people are asking you the same question. Why are we stuck with Pepco? Why couldn't we revoke your franchise? And part of the answer is that this entity, which has been around for 100 years or more, Pepco, would have to be compensated, even if, as I understand it, tell me if I'm right, even if there was some sort of eminent domain where the state of Maryland decided Pepco just was inept, unable to deliver the service that Marylanders deserve, then these assets would have to be purchased or new wires would have to be strung with a cost that's almost incalculable. I mean, and is there anything I'm saying that's wrong? You understand this better than I do.
I'm not an attorney, so I want to resist the urge to opine on an issue that has a lot of legal implications. But I think the essence of it is correct. We have a very large investment in Montgomery County. That investment, if it were to move to another party through whatever the proceeding would be, that the company would be compensated for that.
So just to restate, as I understand it, if we ask you direct questions, your answers are evasive and incomplete. If the legislature passes a law that fines you for failure to perform, I'm quoting you now, it would make absolutely no difference in your provision of service, and we have no alternative. Is there anything I'm missing here?